0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
The last time the Philadelphia Phillies made the playoffs, the quote that most Americans identified with was, "I'm a winner." Charlie Sheen, right after he was fired off of 2.5 Men. People Magazine's Sexiest Man Alive was Bradley Cooper. I guess that could still reign true 11 years later. Snapchat first became available. The Amazon Kindle was the top gift that year. American Idol, a show that now sucks, was the second best show ratings-wise in America. And there were still 1,821 blockbusters roaming the earth. Since then, 0 playoff appearances, a lot of painful baseball, and then many close Septembers. Over the last 5 seasons, the Phillies are 25 games under 500 in the month of September. They lost their final 9 of their final 11 in 2018, 9 of their final 12 in 2019, 7 of their final 8 in 2020, a season in which they needed to win 1 game to get in a very expanded playoff field. 6 of their last 7 in 2021. And now they've lost 10 of their last 13, a season in which 2 weeks ago we were sitting here planning a celebration. They are 1-15 against a 66-win Cubs team, 70-win Rangers team, and 77-win Giants team. This week, they went into the most important series of the last decade and got swept by a lowly Chicago Cubs team with their 3 best pitchers on the mound, and scored 3 total runs in 3 games. They left 16 men in scoring position last night, 2 for 16 with runners in scoring position. The only 2 runs they scored were on outs. Today, they couldn't muster a run. And it's been plain dreadful and embarrassing. And I don't know what we did to deserve it, Regs. I have no idea what we did to deserve it, but this is an absolute disaster, and there's a hell of a lot of blame to go around.
I felt like I was at one of those like shock poetry nights when you opened up. It felt like you were going to start rhyming everything, even though I knew exactly what you were going to say. Yeah. I mean, hello, everybody, I guess you could say.
Good evening.
Welcome to an episode we never wanted to make, I think is the way we'll start it.
Death, taxes, and September collapses. That's what this is.
Yeah, the 3 most inevitable things in life. You're almost speechless that this could be happening again.
Like we knew in the back of our heads.
No, like I never do. That's the problem. I think that's the problem, Azzy, is that no matter how much I'm pessimistic regs and like I try and stay even keeled about things, I always believe that we're going to do it because I have to. I love this baseball team. And I have to. I have to think that they're going to do it, or else I don't know what to do with myself. I summed it up in a tweet the other day. I was just like, I mean, it can't be seriously. Like, you're just like babbling on because you don't know how to handle it. I can't, that 1-15 stat, like, blows my mind. The fact that we've been swept twice by the Cubs And all right, the one coming off the All-Star break, guys are coming back from the break. They're not ready to go. You kind of can explain your way out of that one. But it's like you said, these are the most important 10 games that this team as put together has ever had. And they have come out and just absolutely choked. And let's say from an offensive standpoint, they have choked. Their pitching has not been bad. You cannot blame the pitching in this series. What was it? 4 runs by Nola, 2 runs by Ranger, 1 run by Wheeler. Was it 1 run by Wheeler?
Yeah.
Like,
yep.
You cannot blame the pitching in these 3 games. These guys on offense showed up to the most important series of their lives and sucked. And just sucked to the point where I'm questioning everything. I'm questioning if Bryce Harper can lead a team to the playoffs. Is it possible? Like, everyone says Schwarber is, this great guy in the clubhouse. Like, he's great when it's going well. And he can be the happy guy, cheering everybody on. But when it's down in the dumps, what has he done? And I'm almost to the point, I know Castellanos had like a 4-for-5 game the other night, but like, what has he shown us this entire year? Besides being an absolute travesty of a 5-year signing. I just don't, Gene called it tonight. He got Alex Coffey had, again, shout out to Alex as always. Got a quote from Gene. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. If you were playing the LA Dodgers, maybe we could write it off, right? You're playing a team who's won 107 games. You're not as good as that team. You probably don't deserve to win a game against the Dodgers. The Cubs have won, what'd you say, 66 games?
66 games.
I don't care that it's in Chicago. This team has 10 games left of a season that's awful.
7 now.
Yeah, the Cubs. Like, the Cubs had 10 games left of a terrible season.
Right.
Do you think those players want to still be playing? You went out against a team that had nothing and showed that you can have less somehow. Which I wasn't sure was possible until today. Wasn't sure it was possible. So I have to continue to hope that we sweep the Nationals and somehow the Brewers lose 3 or 4 to who are they playing now? The Brewers
playing Miami, and they're winning right now. So
awesome.
Yeah.
So
it's the 6th inning, and Miami just stranded 2 runners. So I'm pretty sure that the Phillies will be half a game out.
It just, we've never said this team was a great team, but it seems to be they're not even a good one. Because good teams, playoff teams, find a way to take even 2 out of 3 in a series like this.
I've been. I would love to agree in the sense of like, I'm surprised, but like they've gotten me to the point of indifference now. Like, I'm not like, I don't know what I am. I'm not mad. Like, it's not even that old. I'm not even mad. I'm just disappointed thing. Like, I'm just indifferent. Like today, for the first time in a very long time. I am someone who DVRs games in May. So day games in May, so I don't miss them. And you would think, like, if they had won the first 2 or even one of the first 2, I probably DVR this game today. And I'm probably, on pins and needles. And I barely checked my phone. Like, I barely checked. some of these dudes haven't played like the back of their baseball cards at very inopportune times. You said Castellanos had 4 hits. They were all singles.
Yeah.
Like, and none of them were in difference-making moments. Like, Bryson Stott looks exhausted. His plate approach has changed entirely. The Edmundo Sosa injury has killed him because he's not getting days off, and he's playing baseball much further into the year than what he's used to, and you can see it. Like, his plate approach, his discipline, his swing selections are just all over the place right now. Flailing at stuff. Segura's flailing at stuff. Last night, Harper's 3-pitch strikeout was an albatross. Real Muto had a swing at a pitch that on Gamecast today was like almost off the screen. They're absolutely pressing because they know, like, Rhys Hoskins is taking strikes right down the middle and arguing with the umpire like it's not. Like, dude, have a clue. Like, come on. We're watching it on TV. We know it's a strike.
Yeah.
Like, you're not changing our minds. And I'm waiting for the first player when they ask about the fans to say, well, they didn't come out and support us. And, convince us that you should be supported. Why would I come out? Like, why would the casual, like, I know why I go out, but why would the casual Philadelphia fan waste their time with a group of dudes who choke year in and year out this time of year? And look, maybe 6 days from now, I'm on this screen eating every single word that I have to say that I'm saying tonight.
But like, what would give you that idea right now? Like,
nothing.
Exactly.
Exactly. I have zero confidence.
Yep.
Zero confidence that come next Wednesday, they have a playoff spot. As a matter of fact, I'm more confident that the Brewers lock it up by the end of the weekend than I am that the Phillies win enough games to get into the playoffs. That's where I'm at. Like, that's where my head is. And here's the thing. They're playing a doubleheader tomorrow now.
Yep.
So, if Miami somehow beats the Brewers, you have a 3-game swing basically in the standings. But I truly think the Phillies are going to lose a game tomorrow because they're just not playing with the confidence or what looks like the want-to. I don't know if it's the want-to. I don't want to say they don't want to win, but they're so tight. They're just so tight offensively right now. Everybody's waiting for the dude in front of them or behind them to get the big hit that they're not even thinking about their at-bat. There's no approach. There's no plan. They're just going up there hoping that the person behind them does it. And that's not how they've won games for the last 3 months. It's not how they've won since Topper's been here. And, I said to you before we started, there's plenty of blame to go around with the guys on the field. We blamed, a section of the fan base blamed Kapler for those collapses in, 17, 18, right? Like, and even in 19. We blamed Kapler for those when they collapsed those years. Then we blamed Girardi. Last year, 20, we blamed Girardi. I'm not ready to blame Topper. And we talked about last show. He's had moments where, like, those are games we should win. But the losses that are happening are because the offense is not showing up.
Yeah.
And sadly, we have another Gibson start yet, too.
Yeah. And Syndergaard.
And Syndergaard tomorrow. They're just not showing up. And at some point, the finger has to be pointed at the players. At some point, you have to blame the 9 dudes on the field that are not performing. And unfortunately, they're going to be the reason that they don't get in the playoffs. They're going to be the reason. They only have to look at themselves in the mirror because literally 12 days ago, we sat on this show and we're planning the big show for the night they clinched. I said on Sunday night that we'd be on here tonight talking about a show on Saturday that they would clinch. 4 days later, this is what they did. They caused this conversation. They caused it. And I'm not saying there's one guy to blame. because
there's not.
there's plenty of blame to go around. Not
Yeah.
a single one of those dudes is doing what they should be doing right now.
No.
The other night, the first game of this series, they get a leadoff hit in the 9th inning of a 1-run game. JT comes up, swings at the first pitch, ground ball to third base, fielder's choice. What does Bohm do? He comes up, swings at the first pitch, ground ball double play, ends the game. Have a freaking clue. This dude is coming in throwing sinkers. Have a clue. It is ridiculous that we are sitting here and having this conversation for the 5th year. There has to be changes this offseason. Some of these dudes have to be gone. They have to be. Unbelievable, Regs.
Yeah, I mean, I know we don't want to blame coaches and things like that because it's not. I completely agree with you that the 99.5% of the blame goes to the guys who step in the box because no one can help them at that point. There's no like coach in your ear telling you what to do before the play happens. You know, baseball is a very lonely sport sometimes, and you might not be more lonely than when you're inside the batter's box. But then you kind of have to show what you're made of.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, even just think back to the Braves team last year. What did those guys do in every scenario? They had unbelievable at bats.
Yep, came through
and pulled it off because they went into the box with a plan. And they went into the like even the guys who were no-namers went into the box with whatever confidence that they were given by their teammates, by their coaches, and went up there knowing they were going to at least give a good at bat. If it resulted in an out, or whatever, it was what it was. But they weren't going up there, like you said, swinging at the first pitch 2 at bats in a row. That's bordering stupidity. You're supposed to be professional baseball players. I could teach my 8-year-old kids to not do that. And I think there's a little bit of blame to go on Kevin Love. Kyle Long. Yeah, Kevin Long.
Kevin Long.
I'm mixing them all up. I'm emotional. Because at some point he has to realize what his offense is doing. And he has to figure out something. I'm not saying it's his fault for what happens at the plate, because it's not. It absolutely 1,000% is not his fault what happens when those guys step into the batter's box.
Sure.
But if you see 2 games of this, you have to try and do something. Whether they take it or not, and maybe he did. Maybe no one's reported on it yet. I've been kind of shocked how we haven't, I don't know if you've seen them, but have you seen a Bryce Harper quotes or Kyle Schwarber quotes? Why aren't we getting answers from these guys? Why aren't the reporters asking questions? I know Alex Coffey got that quote tonight from Gene. Why haven't I seen 15 of them from everybody on this team? From Tom, she even got a quote from Thompson as well. But
yeah, I mean, they get him every night, though.
Yeah, but I'm not seeing anything from these guys. They've curled into the fetal position. And I just don't I'll never understand how it keeps happening. And I think from this point on, if they truly don't make it, I mean, I think you and I talked about this. We had an argument with a friend of ours a long time ago when we signed Bryce Harper. He was adamant that we would not win a World Series with Bryce Harper. And you and I were like, it's 10 years. We know we're not there now, but we'll be able to put a team around this guy that can win a World Series. He's just too talented. It's got to happen. I doubt myself now. I don't know what I'll come back to this again. Why the hell is Nick Castellanos hitting this way? All season. I get it, he was hurt, the oblique thing, but whatever. Let's jump before that. I think you and I had as good of a shot at getting a hit as Nick Castellanos did for the first 4 months of the season. I'm dead serious. He looked just how I would look if I was facing major league pitching, having absolutely no idea what the baseball was going to do out of a pitcher's hand. What? Again, Schwarber did his part in June and July when we know he gets hot. Harper did his thing, and for whatever reason has come off this injury and been a shell of himself. Just has looked absolutely terrible. He's got the Castellanos thing. He has no idea what's coming out of that pitcher's hand, and he is just trying to guess as that ball is 30 feet away from him what it's going to do. JT had his moment of being hot, but we knew this was going to happen again, right? JT has not stayed consistent. Reese had his hot little month. Again, predictable that he cools off again. Like you said with Stott, has never played a full major league season before and is showing the signs of fatigue there. Segura, we all hoped would come back. And, you know, he was obviously on a crazy tear before the injury happened. So we don't expect him to come back like that, but at least come back as some form of yourself. And at this point, and if the inevitable happens, you have to look at the veterans on this team. I don't look at Alec Boehm. I don't look at Bryson Stott. I don't look at Brandon Marsh. I don't look at Matt Vierling. I don't look at Nick Maton, Stubbs, Munoz, whoever. Those guys are exempt, right? Those guys have never been in this situation before as full-time players. I'm putting them to the side. Harper, Segura, Reese, Schwarber, Castellanos, Real Muto. 6 guys out of a 9-person lineup. Veterans of Major League Baseball. Supposedly great offensive players. And in the most crucial time of your season, I don't want to hear that you were injured. I don't want to hear that like you're coming back off an injury and it takes some time to get used to it. Tough, dude. Tough. You know. You just I think if the inevitable happens, and I want to see the kind of articles I'm looking for. I need these reporters to put a microphone in these guys' face and say, we need to hear why you're accountable. The fans deserve to understand why, like what happened and who and why you should be held accountable for this. It's not Zach. I get it. Nola gave up 4 runs. Okay, that's a blip. Suarez gave up 1. Wheeler gave up 1. You cannot. There's been plenty of times we could blame this stuff on the bullpen or pitching. We know. These last 3 games have not been it. And I need reporters to ask the questions that they need to ask. I know I'm not going to get answers because they're just going to give me the stupid sports talk crap. But someone's got to say something more than, oh, you know, every guy's just really tried and hard, and I think we just tried too hard. No, you didn't. You sucked. You didn't try too hard. You sucked. You blew it. In the most crucial time of the year, I know we don't curse a lot on this show, but like you shit your pants. And people deserve a reason.
Well, I mean, Bryce did talk today. I only have one quote from him. Two quotes. One, he was asked, I guess, about. I just lost it actually. Give me a second. I'll get it back up here. Someone must stop the bleed. This is from Matt Gelb's article on The Athletic. Someone must stop the bleeding. Few outside the clubhouse walls are convinced the Phillies can do it. They are not just fighting the opposition. They are wrestling with years of failure. I don't think, Bryce Harper said, any guy on this team has that mindset of, oh, here we go again. Different group of guys, different team. And Gelb follows that within a perverse way that almost makes it worse. And I agree with that. Like, you should be thinking, oh crap, here we go again. We got to stop this. Like, you should be closing that door and saying to each other and holding each other accountable. That's the problem. This team doesn't have what that 2007 to 2011 team had. They don't have that guy who's going to shut the door when things get bad and blow it up, or come out in the media and give the fans something to believe in. If this were happening with the 2007 to 2011 team, Chase Utley would be in everybody's face right now. And Jimmy Rollins would be standing in front of the media just oozing confidence that they're going to be fine. This team is not doing that. Harper has another quote here. We're still in it. We have 7 games left. We have a road ahead of us, but we have to keep playing. We have to keep going. We can't have a mindset of losing and thinking about that. No, like, even just saying the word can't and losing, it should be our mindset is to win baseball games. Like we have to loosen up. Be honest with yourself. It's clear that you guys are tight. Every at bat is tight. And I know what you're saying in regards to like the young guys getting a little bit of exemption, but like somebody's got to get the big hit. Like whether you're a rookie or an 8-year vet, like somebody has to come up in a spot and get a big hit to break this thing up. Because again, like I'm keeping an eye on the Brewers game as we talk tonight, and the Brewers just left the bases loaded with 1 out. Like the door is open. They're going to win this game. Like the Phillies are going into tomorrow a half a game out. Like there is no doubt in my mind they're going into tomorrow a half a game out. Best case scenario is that they'll leave tomorrow technically 2 games up with the tiebreaker. That's the best case. I don't anticipate that happening. I don't. I could see a situation where they leave in a tie. I could see that happening where they win 1, lose 1, and maybe Milwaukee wins and they just end up tied in the standings, which means we'll hold a game. But like, even at that point, what gives us any idea, any clue, or any confidence that they're going to win the next 2 against Washington or 2 of 3 from Houston?
No, they're not doing that against Houston.
No, not the way they're playing. They had to win 2 of 3 in Chicago for us to really believe that this was going to happen. Right now, my confidence level, and I'll ask you this, and then I think we just have to step away from the Phillies because we could do this. We could do this for hours, and it's not going to change. This is loser baseball. They are playing loser. I'm not even going to say losing. They are playing loser baseball. They have a loser mentality. They have a loser approach, and that results in a loser performance. It's loser baseball. It's what we've seen for this organization. We've seen it from them for 11 years. We saw it when they tried to rebuild in a losing way, and we've seen it since they've found this, like, whatever this is that they're doing every September. If you're going to exempt people, I'm exempting Middleton, who went over the tax. I'm exempting Dombrowski, who went out and made really good moves at the deadline. Again, performance matters. Like, we knew what we were getting from Syndergaard, and he's been less than what we thought we were getting. Yeah. Robertson has regressed since coming to Philly. Shocker. And honestly, Brandon Marsh has become a much better hitter, but he's not as advertised in the field. 2 huge misplayed balls in the last 4 games that have cost them like big time runs. The Atlanta game, the first inning, and then today, when he dropped that ball. And again, probably lost in the sun. He had sunglasses on, but nonetheless, two really big loser energy plays from a guy who we brought here for mainly his glove, even though the bat has made strides since he's arrived. Big loser energy right now from this team, unfortunately, that's resulting in loser play and losing games. My confidence level in them getting in is like 7%. It is at an all-time low. It is pissed off Azzy mixed with negative Azzy mixed with indifferent Azzy. All of the negative Azzies that can possibly be out there. This is what you're getting. I have no confidence. I if I could go lower without getting to 0, I would. I'm trying to keep a little slim glimmer of hope for myself because I need something to believe in. I just have to have something. But I don't think anybody that's listening to this show that knows me or has talked to me at any point with Philly sports has ever seen me this negative about this baseball team. Even through the rebuild, I found things to be positive in. There is nothing to be positive about with this team. That's where my confidence level is at. Share yours, and then we'll move on to something a little bit more positive.
I'm going to say 15%. I'm going to slightly double yours. Again, because I just feel like I need that hope in my life.
That's why I gave 7.
I know, for my baseball team. Yeah, there's nothing else to really explain.
Yeah. So, well, I'll tell you this, and we'll mention it again at the end of the show. Whether they're eliminated or whether there's some miracle and they figure out a way to get in, we'll have a reaction show with you guys live. We'll either air our grievances or air our celebrations, but I think anybody listening right now, I think we're all on the side of we're going to be airing some grievances. And
the lines will be open though. Just be prepared that whenever night they clinch or get eliminated, the show is going on. The Discord will be open, and we'll be here drinking either way. So you can share a drink with us in despair or in some whatever. I don't even know if I'll be excited.
That's what I was gonna say. Honestly, I think we could even let's take a few minutes to talk about that. Like, even if they find their way in, back their asses into this, what are we excited about? For them to just get dismantled, if not in the first round? Because again, I think a match with the Cardinals is actually possible. But to get to the NLDS and just get destroyed by the Mets or the Braves or the Dodgers, like, what are we even excited about? Like,
no, that's about it. That's about it.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about something that's good.
All right. Let's turn it around.
Congratulations to Jalen Hurts. And I think even to Brandon Graham. I think we could congratulate both. BG was voted the NFC Defensive Player of the Week for Week 3.
How about that?
Had a big game against the Commanders.
Good for you,
and
BG.
NFC Offensive Player of the Month. Your own QB1, Jalen Hurts. So, tip of the cap there to Jalen.
Yeah.
Last time, Rags, that the Birds had a Offensive Player of the Month that was a quarterback, they won the Super Bowl.
There you go.
So, clearly we're going to win the Super Bowl.
What else do you need to know?
What's going on in the do you know what's going on in the Dolphins game?
Tua got carted off and taken to a hospital.
He shouldn't have been playing.
Some kind of head injury.
Yeah, dude, I think that's what he suffered in
not
Sunday's
good.
game.
Yep.
Yeah. If they lose tonight,
they haven't showed the hit or anything. They just
if they lose tonight,
yeah,
you know what that means.
We got an undefeated team and the only one.
We would have the only undefeated team in all of the NFL. Could you believe it?
So
could you believe it?
Can we get into something that I've been hearing a lot of people talk about? And I want to get your opinion on it as we go into I think a more highly controversial game with the Jags than we might have expected going into the year.
Okay.
With the Jags looking all right.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are saying that they don't, shockingly, they haven't had this, like this is before obviously this game with the Dolphins tonight.
Mhm.
But a lot of people are saying that they would take the Dolphins over the Eagles because they haven't seen the Eagles prove that they can score in the second half. I've heard it
I love
twice. I
it.
heard it on PTI,
I love it.
and then I also heard it. Where was the second part? I heard it on Rosillo's show, and he was interviewing Damian Woodley from ESPN.
Yeah.
Woodley did call the Eagles the best team in the NFC right now,
Mhm. Yeah.
but he said
They
if
are.
given a choice, he would still take the Dolphins. Or
Well,
in the playoffs,
yeah. Okay.
he
Because the
would
Dolphins
take.
are in it.
Sorry, he would still take Green Bay or Tampa Bay in a playoff situation, which is understandable given the track record of those quarterbacks.
Yeah, I guess.
But he also said he had more confidence in the Dolphins because he wasn't sure about the Eagles scoring late in games. So I just wanted to get your opinion on that because it's true. They put up a bunch of points in the first half and then just haven't in the second.
Yeah.
And there's reasons for that, but I wanted to get your opinion on that sort of take that's out there.
Yeah. All right. So let's revisit these games real quickly. Okay. So Detroit down 7-0. They scored 24 points. The Lions scored 24-14 at half. They come out in the third and score on 2 of their possessions in the third. They put up 14, and end up winning that game. Okay, so they scored in the second half of that game. They did try and take the air out of the ball a little bit in the fourth quarter of that game because I believe at that point they were up 38-21. So they were just trying to take the air out of the ball a little bit. Okay. So then we go to week 2, the Monday night game against the Vikings. And again, they were up 24-7. And they did try and score. Like they had a field goal blocked. Like they were moving the ball. They stalled on one. I think they went for it on fourth down and didn't get it. And then they had a field goal blocked, right? And then in the fourth quarter again, they were just taking the air out of the ball because they were winning by 17 points. They were up 3 scores. And then last week, sort of the same scenario. They were dominating that game. It was 24-0. Like Washington wasn't doing anything. They did try and score right out of the gate in the second half. But after that, like they were just kind of sitting on the ball. Like they weren't throwing the ball downfield anymore. They did that once in the second half on their first possession, and that was it. Like and in the fourth quarter, it was literally just running the football. Like that's what they were doing. So I guess if we're looking for something to nitpick about the Eagles, it's that they're not scoring in the second half of football games. Eventually, they're going to have to. Like when they play the Packers on Sunday night in a few weeks, like they're going to have to score in the second half.
Yeah.
They're absolutely going to have to score in the second half because Aaron Rodgers isn't going to, But, I mean, I guess I'm not really understanding why they have to score when they're winning. Like they're blowing teams up in the first half. Just blowing them up. So when it gets to the fourth quarter and you're up by 24, you're just going to take the air out of the football. Like that's what most teams do. So again, like I get it. I get why we're saying it because some people are just looking for something, I guess. But like, I don't know. I'm not calling it a concern yet because a concern would mean it's cost them something. And to this point, it hasn't cost them anything. Because they're leaning on a strength with the defense. So I don't know. That's where I'm at with it.
No, I think I agree with you. And I'm going to agree a little bit the other way too. I think it's the next test for this team is to go into a close game in the third and fourth quarters and show that they can continue to score touchdowns against better teams. Like they continued scoring against Detroit, but Detroit's just kind of an okay team. Hopefully, I'm not looking for opportunities for close games. If there can be more blowouts where we just have to run the ball for a whole quarter, I'm in. But I think I'll agree to the point that I think it's the next sort of test for this team. is, let's see how the offense can do in a high pressure situation, in the third or fourth quarter.
And they might very well have that this week. Let's talk a little bit about, what they're getting into. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is one of the top young quarterbacks in football. I think when we look at Jacksonville, they have a week 1 loss to a team that the Eagles just absolutely dismantled, limb from limb last week. They beat pretty bad Colts team, I think. And then last week they beat a very, very injured Charger team.
Yeah.
Here's it's not that they're without weapons though. Like offensively, they do have weapons. I don't know that they're better than Justin Jefferson or Terry McLaurin. I don't know that they're better than that group. But I mean, Christian Kirk is a legitimate deep threat. So, you're going to see some home run attempts from Lawrence. And Lawrence can move too.
Yeah.
Like Lawrence is not a statue. He's not a Cousins. He's certainly not Carson Wentz. He can move a little bit.
Yeah.
He's not, I wouldn't call him he's definitely not Jalen Hurts. He's definitely not Lamar Jackson, but he's got there's some motor there.
Yeah, there are different tiers to that quarterback
Yeah.
stuff. There's the Peyton and Eli's all the way at the bottom. There's Mike Vick all the way at the top. And then there's differences in between.
Yeah, and he probably sits right in the middle.
But they're significant. It's a big deal when you're playing against a guy who can isn't dreading having to take 8 yards or 9 yards.
Now, I will tell you this. He's not running the read option. He's not looking to run.
No, for sure.
But if he has to, he can scramble and do enough. They do have Evan Ingram, former tight end from New York. Marvin Jones, who's a very solid, sound wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe they have Zay Jones, but I'm not yet there. He might be hurt from what I'm looking at. And then defensively, they definitely there's stuff there. But I'm not sure that there's enough to stop this offense. I just don't know that there's a defense in football that has enough to stop this offense. There's going to be an extra energy, and we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. That's going to be my fixated, but I'm going to want you to talk about it first. They also have James Robinson and they have Travis Etienne, both legitimate running threats coming out of the backfield. But I mean, the Eagles are I believe they're the biggest favorite of the weekend. I'm just kind of looking real quickly, scrolling through, just making sure I'm not wrong in saying that. No, they're not. They're the second biggest favorite of the weekend. The biggest favorite of the weekend is Green Bay at home against Mac Jones-less Patriots. But the Eagles are still pretty big. They're a touchdown favorite.
Yeah, I think this is just one of those games where you talked about when we were going through the schedule that Washington might be kind of one of those trap games at Washington. Coming off whatever was going to happen against the Vikings, both of us thought that was potentially a loss.
Right.
Or even if it was a win, that it was just going to be so tough that you go into Washington the next week that aren't as good, Carson Wentz, all that stuff, potentially a trap game. And I don't think this necessarily fits that trap game scenario because, again, Jacksonville is not blowing everyone out of the water.
Right.
But they're coming in with more momentum than I think people expected them to have even 3 games into the season. Mm-hmm. So it's just going to be another great chance for this Eagles team to shut a lot of people up. Yeah. And tell them that we are this good. Mm-hmm. We know Jacksonville's coming in with some momentum. They're playing better than we thought they would. But we're the legit team here.
The Eagles are favored in every game the rest of the way at this point. They have 3 games here before their bye. All 3 carry a different kind of magnitude. This one because of, the storyline with Doug. And then you have the road game in Arizona. So, that's probably considered one of their tougher games remaining on the schedule. And then there's the Dallas game, which always has that levity to it that other games just don't have inherently because it's Dallas.
Of course.
So, and then they have their bye week. And things sort of after that are I don't know. I until Green Bay, there's just not a whole lot there. So honestly, this game probably carries more concern for me. I think the Cardinals game is going to be fun, but there's almost storylines every single week with this team.
Yeah.
Because you go from the Justin Jefferson, Jalen Reagor story in week 2. I mean, you had Deuce Staley in week 1, and then Carson Wentz, and now Doug. And then next week will be the Ertz storyline. And then, you got the Cowboys just being the Cowboys. And then you finally get to your bye, and your storylines dissipate. You come out and you play the Steelers, right? The Texans. You get Carson Wentz's Philly return, which is going to be a whole charade. The Colts and the Packers and the Titans, and then the Giants and the Bears and the Cow. The storylines sort of dissipate. This is the part of the schedule for me that I just need to see them get through because it's the distraction part of the schedule.
Yeah.
There's all these elements that are in the air as they go through the first 6 weeks of their schedule before they get to the bye. It's all of those minor storyline. Well, and some of them are bigger storylines, but all of those storylines that could serve as a distraction. And today, Brandon Graham, he was asked about Doug, and he goes, "Of course we love Doug, and he's going to be in here trying to win a game, and our job is to make sure he doesn't do that." And and if that's the mentality, this team is more talented. There's no doubt in my mind they're more talented than the Jags. But the Jags are going to be the Eagles are the team right now.
Mm-hmm.
So teams are going to show up to beat the team. And as long as they have and again, the mindset starts with the leader. And goodness gracious, if that boy under center does not have the right mindset, I get goosebumps listening to him talk in postgame. Just about the standard. And that we leaving meat on the bone, and they see what's going on offensively in the second half. They want to do more, but he just talks about the standard, and then you hear his offensive coordinator talk about how he's always at that complex, and he's in the weight room or he's watching film, and he's always trying to make himself better. And if that's the standard that the leader is making himself reach, then it is going to be hard to beat this team. Because if the player on the team who's looked to as the alpha is always going to be trying to maintain this impossible level of growth, then what's the rest of the team going to do? They're going to follow it. And right now that dude is doing that. So they're always going to have laser focus because the guy who's leading them out onto that field every Sunday is laser focused. And I think that's probably my biggest takeaway, and the hope that I have that they get through these first 6 weeks and can get through the distraction football to get to the other stuff and just continue to become what they look like they can become, which is a real problem for everybody in the NFL. Reminder that they have 2 first-round picks, one of them being from the Saints, who are one of the worst teams in football with their quarterback about to hit the shelf.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think, look, we don't anticipate this team is not going to go undefeated. There's going to be hiccups. Stuff's going to happen. Do we hope for that? Of course not. Is it inevitable? Yes. The NFL is still the NFL. Stuff just doesn't happen like that. So this team still has to answer a lot of people's questions.
Mm-hmm.
They still have to prove a few things.
Yep.
But I don't think a lot of people expected that Minnesota win.
No.
Like very few people expected that us to win that game, even at home, against Minnesota. So I think that was just a huge statement win right off the bat for this team to give them a bunch of confidence.
Mm.
Regardless of when those hiccups happen, this team will still have to answer, can you score at the end of a game in a tight game where you have to? Sorry. And then also, can you bounce back? So when you do inevitably lose that game to whoever and you're favored and you still lose, what's your next game look like?
Yeah.
I think we have a lot of confidence in the fact that this team will be able to do that. But we still need to see it. This team is an unproven entity, regardless of having a really great win under their belt against Minnesota. Like you said, we still have to go out and show that we're better than Jacksonville. We still have to deal with an Aaron Rodgers game where that guy can just decide that he's the best football player on the planet and show everybody why. So plenty of challenges, but I think the confidence level of this team to go into those in the right mindset and work their butts off and then hopefully bounce back whenever the inevitable does happen. I think it's as high as it can be at the moment.
So let me ask you this, and then we'll move into the Phixated for the night. Give me a prediction. Give me a key to the game prediction, and just quick thoughts on Dougie P.
I think the key to the game is going to be the defensive line. I think if they can get the same kind of pressure that they were getting in Washington, that it makes a whole world of difference. I don't know if they'll have a spy necessarily on Lawrence.
No, he doesn't require one.
But this defense has shown what they can do in the best case scenario, which is where their front four are getting that much pressure. So I hope that the front four can continue to get to the quarterback and be effective. I think that's probably the key, because that just makes the whole secondary better. It gets them off the field, gets the offense back on the field. I think that would be the key. If I have to make a prediction, I'm going to say 24-14 Eagles.
24-14. Okay. Hey, before you give your Dougie P thoughts, Avisel Garcia of the Marlins just hit a 2-out grand slam home run. Miami's up on Milwaukee 4-2. So it's the top of the 8th. Anything could happen, but Miami about to ruin someone else's season potentially.
God bless you, Aviel Garcia.
All right, quick thoughts on Dougie P before we
send his family a fruit basket or something.
Well, they got to finish it first.
I mean, look, he will always be the guy who brought our football team a Super Bowl in our lifetime. So just like Charlie Manuel, even if Charlie Manuel had gone and managed the Yankees, I would still love Charlie Manuel. Mm-hmm. He's in that. He has to be in that echelon. It's like Nick Foles, it's like Brad Lidge. It's like Cole Hamilton, Ryan Howard, all those guys. Regardless of what they go on to do or wherever they end up, I will never have a bad thing to say about them. I'm glad that he got an opportunity to coach again. I think he deserved it. It really seems like he's turning that team around. I mean, it wasn't a high bar to set after Mr. Meyer.
Oh my gosh, how about it? How about it?
So Dougie didn't have a tough act to follow, but that's how it's going to be. Will I love seeing him again? Of course. Do I wish him the best? Always. Do I want to kick his butt? Absolutely.
All right, so my key to the game on Sunday is let the offense churn. There are questions about him. Let him churn. Let him run it up. Let's shut up the people that are saying that the offense can't score in the second half. I don't care how you have to do it. Keep scoring in the second half. I have the final 31-13 I don't think this is going to be close at all. I think if they can get through, kind of like they did with the Lions, the emotionality of like the Doug Peterson stuff, then they won't have an issue. Again, the Jags are playing good football, but here's the one thing that I want to caution people of, and I have had to remind myself of this. The advantage in terms of coaching probably goes to Doug, not because I think he's better than Sirianni, but because he knows this roster better than Sirianni knows the Jags. He knows Jalen Hurts. He knows that offensive line. He knows most of that defensive line. He coached a lot of these guys. So there are tendencies to that I feel like he has a little bit of an advantage to. That being said, most of these players know Doug and they know his game plan. And we know one thing about Doug. He's very stubborn and does not like to change his game plan. But talent often rules the day. And I just think there's more talent, especially a home game for the Eagles. And if they are as focused a team as I believe they are, this game will be over by the end of the third quarter. And I truly believe that's going to be the case. So my fixated is on Doug tonight, Rags. We lived a lot of our lives like with this close mentality with the Eagles. Like it was always this close. It was like right there every year. I mean, our whole like relationship, our whole friendship was watching them get to that last game and not being able to overcome with Andy. Andy left. He was forced out, I don't think we've ever used the word fired with Andy. I think it was like came to the agreement that they were going to go their separate ways type of thing. Mm-hmm. And, Andy came back with the Chiefs and is one of very few people who gets that like special welcome back that, he got, right? There are very few people that have gone elsewhere and have come back and received the ovation that they've.
And I think every Eagles fan was rooting for him in the Super Bowl.
100%. And if you weren't, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
But like Chase Utley got that ovation. Jimmy Rollins got that ovation. Andy got it. Brian Dawkins got it. AI got it. Like there are just people who get that ovation. And like Doug deserves. Doug was not here long. Like that's the thing. Like these guys all have longevity. The guys that I'm talking about have longevity. Doug has the championship. Doug has the moments. Like the moments that Doug gave us. Like, dude, that dude we talked about all the time. He had cojones, man. Like that dude was not afraid of the moment. Now it got to a point where he was not afraid of any moment, and that was, I think, his ultimate downfall and his demise as the head coach of the Eagles. But like the Philly moment will always live in infamy. And I hope that there's a special tribute to Doug where he gets that moment with the fans. And I fully anticipate a Chase Utley type of moment with the fans and Doug. I anticipate that he will get that standing ovation. I anticipate that he will receive that ovation in the way that Doug, the way that Doug is. He's kind of that goofy uncle. Like Doug Peterson is just that goofy uncle, salt and pepper son of a gun. Like that's who Doug Peterson is. And again, his time with us was pretty short-lived from the head coaching perspective. But like that legend will never, ever. I don't care if Sirianni wins 3 titles. Like the fact that Doug got us that first one after years of like pain and suffering from a fan base. Like this is a moment he deserves and a moment that I will fixate. Like I will be sitting right in front of my TV for kickoff just so I can like witness that moment for Doug and I'll probably give him a standing ovation in my living room. Like I love Doug. I always loved Doug. Doug got stale for me because he would not change the things that we knew weren't working. And it caused them to lose games, plain and simple, straight up. Like they lost games because Doug would not change, and they needed to make a change in order to move forward. So thank you, Doug, for the Super Bowl championship, that Lombardi that was so elusive for so many years. Welcome back. He said he hopes he doesn't hear a ton of boos. I hope he doesn't hear any boos. If you are booing Doug Peterson or planning on going and booing Doug Peterson, please know that you are wrong. Straight up, you are wrong. This is not a guy who asked out of Philly. Save your boos for a few weeks from now when Carson Wentz comes back.
Yeah.
Go for it. Be all in on booing him. Doug was let go by the organization because they needed to change. Doug did not ask out. So please save your boos for a guy who deserves them. Give Doug the just due that he deserves, which is the standing ovation for being the first head coach in this organization's history to bring home the thing that we wanted the most. Doug, we love you. Thank you for the Lombardi. Welcome home. Good luck, but I hope we kick your ass.
Amen.
Amen. And Phillies, you suck. Fixate on that. Regs, thanks for the night, man.
Hey, anytime, buddy. Anytime.
Now we just got to sit here and hope that the Marlins finish this off.
Come on, Finns.
Come on, Miami. Because you got Sandy Alcantara on the mound tomorrow.
That's what we need. We need our Sandy.
We need our Sandy. We need our Sandy. We love you, baby.
I need like eight innings, 3 hits, 1 run. That's what I'm looking for, Sandy.
No runs. Shut him down.
All right, shut him out.
Because Corbin Burns pitches for the Brewers tomorrow. You're going to need no runs. Yeah, you're gonna need no runs. So let's hope they finish this one off. That would put the Phillies magic number at 6 somehow. Don't ask me how. And if they do what they should do against Washington tomorrow, and somehow the Marlins win, it would put their magic number at 3, which is just ridiculous to even think about after what just happened in Chicago. Anything else, Regs, for the good of the people?
No, plug the stuff.
All right. Guys, thanks so much for listening. Make sure you click subscribe in the box below. Give us a follow on Instagram at Birdies and Beer Podcast. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, both at BNB Podcast and at the Phixated Pod. Make sure you follow me at the Mic Drop 5 and Regs at Big Regs with a Z. Go ahead and hit follow on the Phixated fan page there on Facebook, where most people voted in the poll that the Phillies would make the playoffs. Not looking great for those that said that. However,
a delusional 5 days ago.
A 1-2-3 8th inning for the Marlins. We head to the 9th, 4-2 Miami. Could it be happening, Regs? Guys, thank you so much for listening. Make sure you check out in the pod description that the merch site if you haven't already done so. My merch is on the way. Regs' merch is on the way. My one of the teachers at my building, Randy, wore his Phixated Pod polo shirt to school.
He got it already?
He got it.
That's awesome.
Sent me a picture. He's wearing it. My buddy Joe actually went through the website, talked to someone, and is getting a baseball cap, specially made because he really wanted the baseball cap. So I might have to do that. I might go through the website and ask somebody specifically if I can have the hat made because I've got a beanie coming, but I need that baseball cap. So make sure you click the merch site if you haven't already done so. I did reach out about the koozies. So we're going to find out here in the coming weeks about the koozies because my goodness, I need people to leave me alone about the koozies. I'm kidding. Keep bothering me. We appreciate all of you even looking at the merchandise and buying. Actually, Brother Joseph had a t-shirt sent to him, a pullover. He got the red pullover sent to him.
Look at that.
So he's got that in the wardrobe now as well. So
he might never take it off.
I mean, the red one. That's the one I ordered, Regs. That's the one I'm wearing for our golf outing.
I love it. I'll have the blue one on.
For the people.
That's right. For the people.
All right, guys. Hey, we love you. Thank you for listening. Make sure you're safe this week. Be kind to someone. Take care of yourselves. Go Birds. And
please, God, Phillies.
Please, God, Phillies. If they should somehow figure out a way to do it this weekend, keep an eye out on the Phixated page and the Twitter page because we'll be live.
Whenever it happens.
Whenever either one happens,
right.
We'll be live. The Discord will be open, and we'll be accepting your calls and ready to go.
That's right.
Take care, everybody.
Have a good night, everyone.
Oh, my God. Deep to right field. Way up there and way out of here.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.